And I'm wondering if there is one particular lesson that you feel like you might take with you in your next chapter.
Wow, I've learned a lot of lessons, some of them the hard way. I think that, the next chapter to me, and what I'm very excited about is, to be honest with you, is getting back in the classroom. I mean, it's been a long time. And I think when we all start our path into higher education and start teaching, what really excites us most is being in the classroom with the students and also living a little bit of the life of the mind, right? Going out and being able to try to find answers to these very difficult and challenging questions that we're facing out there in business and in the economy and in policies and things like that. So I think I'm not sure that I even knew the answer to that till you and I were talking just a minute ago. I think it's just maintaining a curiosity that gets you excited every morning when the alarm goes off at 6 o'clock and you want to get up and do something. As you move into whatever chapter it is, if you're not curious, none of it will work. And I think that just the ability to go out and just try to find those things that interest you and that are relevant both to your students and to the marketplace and to all folks out there that depend on you to be coming up with solutions. That level of curiosity is what's most important, and maintaining that is probably the most fun thing too.
Yeah, it's probably the most fun thing as well, as you continue learning.
Yes.
As faculty too. So, on the show we talk a lot about purpose, and you've talked a lot about business purpose today already. And I'm just curious, can you talk a little bit about your personal purpose in the context of business education?
Well, again, I think it's, as we talked about just a minute ago, the purpose is service. And service can be defined in a wide variety of different ways. And I always talk about this in the commencement address that I make for both the graduate and the undergraduates, that the importance that they need to take with them as they leave university is that they will be judged on their service. Again, they're not going to be judged on their stock price. They're not going to be judged on PE ratios or they're going to be judged in the long run by their legacy of service. And I think service can be kind of we talk about servant leaders, and I think some of us know that a lot of people that think they're servant leaders probably aren't servant leaders. And, it's one of those terms that's kind of gotten wrapped around things a little bit too much. But I do think that the idea of giving back is the most fulfilling. At Cox, we say the Cox School doesn't give, we give back. So we're going to give back as much as you put into it as a student. And I also think that there's two parts of the human condition which are extraordinarily important for students to recognize what they need to take with them. And I'm talking about students, but that also is a personal thing for all of us, right? Yeah. One is the compassion, because doing the right thing is what matters. But the other one is a little bit of enlightened self-interest, that if you don't give back, then your impact on your students, your organization, on this school, on higher education, won't be what you wanted it to be at the end. So the ability to understand that it's good for you to be able to provide service to students or to companies or what have you, or philanthropic organizations or what have you. Taking that as kind of your mantra every day, I think is one of the things that is most important, not only for our students, but for myself, for all of us, as we really think about when we finish a career, whenever that is, how much did you give back? And how much impact did you make in ways that didn't necessarily directly benefit yourself? And so that's one of the messages that we've been pushing out. And if you want to walk the walk, then that's one of the ways you got to live by it as well. And I think that higher education, one of the great things about being a faculty member is it provides you with a lifetime opportunity to do that, to give back.
And I think as much as you give, you get back as well.
Exactly right.
Who do you think you've been answerable to most in your career as dean?
That's a good question. I would say to the students. And I hesitate on that a little bit because I don't see them as much as I would like to. Right? I see a lot more of the faculty and staff and the donors than the students. But in the end, it's the students. And if it's, if you have that kind of that dream where you wake up and you're accountable, somebody's waiting for you at the pearly gates, and they're going to ask you the question and you have to answer the question right. If you're going to get through, who would you be most scared of to answer that question? Yeah. Did I do a good job? It would be students and alumni, to where they would come back and say, the value of my time at the Cox School or wherever I was at the time, it was worth it. You made it better, or you could have done a better job.
So the next question is for your twin daughters. They're listening to this podcast.
As if they'd listen to the answer, right?
I think they did. So you and I have kids the same age at SMU, and Carlisle and Winston and Zubin are all juniors, soon to be seniors, soon to be in the real world. Yeah. And so this question is for them, but also for all students. What is the advice you would give to these young minds as they're getting ready for the real world?
I think, so I'm trying to think how both Carlisle and Winston would react to my even giving them advice at this stage of the game. I think all our kids probably listen more than they'd like to let on. I would say that it goes back to just remaining curious, right? It goes back to who are the most voracious readers that you know in your life? It's the ones who are most curious. Who are the ones who take the most risk in life? It's the ones that are most curious. Who are the ones that go out and try to learn as much about the world as they can? It's the most curious. It's the ones that are willing to get on a plane and go abroad for 6 months. It's the ones who are willing to work at the soup kitchen downtown. It's the ones who are willing to actually read all of Chaucer. It's the ones who are willing, to go and make themselves better by learning a new language. That level of curiosity, I think, is what makes the most valuable citizens and the most interesting people. And it's important to be an interesting person, I think, sometimes in order to be able to create and motivate other folks to do the things you want to do. So maintaining that level of curiosity throughout your life is so important, and making sure that you do that. And sometimes it's a discipline to do that, because you can easily say it's not worth it, or it's easily say get lazy. Yeah. You can't do that.